additional questions. Martin Hyde. Thank you, Ms. Strickland.
My name is Martin Hyde. I made some notes before I get into the meat of it. Budget 101 in the real world, of course, is a little different. $1 million in the real world is not that different. It's a lot of money. I'm worried about a finance director who says that spending money is fun. Increasing property values is increasing taxes, in case anybody missed that. It's real money out of this community. And a park district is another tax. So anyway, this is the beginning of the most important annual task that you as commissioners have. It's not made easy because they don't give you the information you need to make good budget choices. The good news from 2016 was the actual income exceeded budget income by 1.065 million. The bad news from 2016 was that $678,000 of that increase was from red light traffic cameras, and the half-cent sales tax share was down by $341,000 against budget, which won't be helped long-term by losing Moat and the sales tax on their 300,000 annual visitors. And more worrying still was that expenses rose by $2.586 million. One stubborn line item that came in $354,000 over budget, $354,000 taxpayer dollars over budget, with legal fees and an eye-watering $1.704 million. So maybe we could cut back on lawsuits on matters of principle, like the $100,000 allocated to the Chapman suit and the additional expense of writing the ordinance you ordered the city attorney to craft last week. SPD was within 0.5% of its $34.37 million budget, and might have been under budget if we hadn't spent over $1 million on overtime by hiring enough officers in the first place. Of course, giving fancy guns to the chief and providing her with a bigger vehicle to drive to Marco Island 130 miles away, guzzling taxpayers' gas, doesn't help the bottom line either. Going forward, we're projected to have $29.4 million in 2018 ad valorem taxes, total estimated revenue stream of $66.8 million, which is a whopping $5 million jump in income over 2017. But expenses are forecast to explode by over $5 million from $63 to $68.4 million. What has to be done first is to recognize that in a budget, there are always tough choices to be made. One might not like the idea of leaving a fiscal want behind, like an unlucky passenger when there aren't enough lifeboats on a ship, but the alternative is for everyone to perish if you overburden the lifeboat. So it's women and children first in terms of prioritising what has to be saved. Specifically, we cannot give a second year of inflation-busting raises to the staff. We cannot spend $200,000 on a report into historical buildings in Sarasota. We have to forget fantasies about spending money on Bobby Jones and lease it off, saving $425,000 annually in losses. We also need to stop talking about adding yet more parks to a parks department facing nearly $1.9 million in extra costs. We should immediately cut the city manager's office cost by $200,000 by going back to the original number of city manager assistants that we've always had, and cut the transport budget back to 2017 levels, saving another $600,000. The net effect of these measures would be potentially $1.85 million saved versus projected expenses, and a budget that reflects what we actually have to spend versus what the staff would like to spend. Thank you so much.
Ms. Strickland.